Welcome to City Roundup, brought to you by the City of Pensacola, with your host, Saida Rosa. City Roundup is your one-stop shop for everything having to do with the City of Pensacola. And now, Saida.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of City Roundup. I'm your host, Saida Rosa. We like to start the show with a message from Mayor Grover Robinson. He's getting ready to go to Orlando for the annual League of Cities conference. He spoke with reporters during his press conference earlier this week about what he expects to get out of the experience.
Again, I will be with some of the city administration. I know PC and myself will be at the Florida League of Cities in Orlando through Sunday and coming back to Pensacola on Sunday. So look forward to being a part of that. I had the opportunity to get on the board of the Northwest Florida League, so I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more and seeing a couple of other friends that I've gotten to know, other mayors across the state of Florida. So as we move forward into next year's legislative session, looking forward to that.
Grab your helmet and get ready to ride, because there's now new bike lanes in downtown Pensacola. On this episode of Our City News Show, hosts Tonya, Vaden, and John Scanlon traveled to North Palafox Street to talk about the project. They also discuss Pensacola Bay Cruises and give us a rundown of upcoming events.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Our City News Show. I'm John Scanlon.
And I'm Tonya Vaden, and we're hosting the show along North Palafox to show off the new bike lanes in downtown.
This was a city effort to become more bicycle and pedestrian friendly. The bike lanes were added through the North Palafox Road Diet Project, which transformed part of North Palafox Street into a multimodal and shared roadway for vehicles and bicyclists. Through the project, the existing 4-lane section of Palafox Street between Cervantes and Wright Street was converted into a 2-lane multi-modal roadway, with the current outside lanes changed into bike lanes and on-street parallel parking in both directions. The section of Palafox between Wright and Garden Street was modified into a shared road to allow for both motorists and bicyclists to share the travel lane. Come check it out for yourself.
The City Hall Selfie Day is August the 15th, and we challenge you to take part. All you have to do is visit a government building, any government building, and take a selfie in front of it and post it on social media using the hashtag City Hall Selfie. You'll have a chance of winning prizes from engaging local government leaders, the organization hosting the event. City Hall Selfie Day is an effort to encourage citizens to participate in their local government. Let's show them what Pensacola has to offer.
We have great news about Pensacola Bay Cruises. The National Park Service reports that 33,000 tickets have been sold since service started in late April. Even better news, it's not too late to catch a ride. Peak season runs until August 15th, which means cruises are offered all 7 days of the week. After the peak season, cruises will still be offered on the weekends until the end of October. The 2 catamaran-style boats take passengers between Quietwater Beach, Fort Pickens, and downtown Pensacola. Visit PensacolaBayCruise.com to see schedule times and to buy tickets.
Before we go, we have a ton of upcoming events we want to tell you about. First, if you're interested in learning about the different dance classes we offer at Gold Point Resource Center, we'll be hosting an open house on August the 19th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. We'll have instructors on site and tours will be available. If you already know the classes you're interested in, registration is available online or at the center until Friday, August the 23rd. Also at Gold Point, we're teaming up with Higher Self Fitness to offer a women's self-defense class on Tuesday and Thursday nights, beginning August 20th through October 24th. Classes are available 7 to 8 p.m. and are free.
I'll take this one, Tonya.
Okay.
National Senior Citizens Day is coming up, and we are throwing a celebration. Join us and Summer Vista on Wednesday, August 21st from 10 to 11 a.m. at the Sanders Beach Corin Jones Community Center. We'll have an awesome brunch, door prizes, and live music by the Platinum Premier Band. Again, that's August 21st from 10 to 11 a.m.
And finally, don't miss out. Our last Blues on the Bay concert is Sunday, August the 18th. We'll be having the Modern Eldorados as our closing band. They'll take the Hunter Amphitheater stage at 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it, because Blues Angel Music will also have the grand raffle drawing for thousands of dollars worth of prizes, including musical instruments, music lessons, and more. Proceeds will benefit Blues Angel Music Foundation.
That's all we have for you on this episode of Our City News Show. We thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
Pensacola Bay Cruises started up service again at the end of April, and in just 3 months, the National Park Service reports roughly 30,000 tickets have been sold. On this episode of City Spotlight, we catch up with Pensacola Bay Cruises General Manager Joe Asebedo to find out how the service is going.
We've been very pleased with the outcome since we started in April. Just knowing that we're able to provide that service to the city of Pensacola and the people of Pensacola. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I think my favorite part has been just the overwhelming success and the overwhelming positive that when people get off the boat after 2.5 hours, they can't believe how great it is. Well, the crew daily, for each boat, we've got 4 people on board. So when, especially during the weekends, we got triple crews. So there's 12 people on standby, and then the support staff, sales and events coordinators, office managers, port captains, maintenance. We've got about 22 folks that are on the payroll right now. People really take a look at the building, and they truly enjoy it. It's really an asset to the harbor. Everybody's pleased with it. It looks great. So we're happy. We're happy to be representing it and being a part of it.
For more episodes of Our City Spotlights and news show, visit our YouTube channel. Search City of Pensacola. We'll be right back after this.
Natural gas homes are in demand. Here's what home builders have to say.
Gas provides a wonderful selling advantage over electricity. Customers love cooking with natural gas. It gets hotter faster. The temperature is actually more controllable. The energy efficiency absolutely plays a part with our decision to put natural gas in our homes. It's much more efficient for our customers to use natural gas.
Natural gas from Pensacola Energy, the clean, reliable, earth-friendly choice.
Heat pumps don't pump much heat. In fact, heat from an efficient natural gas heater can be 30% warmer, and you can get up to an $800 rebate when you install one. Warming up to natural gas yet? Learn more at PensacolaEnergy.com.
We now turn to our green tip of the week. Drive the speed limit and combine as many errands as you can in one trip because it saves gas. Would you like to be a part of the team at the City of Pensacola? We have a number of openings and we're looking for great candidates to fill them. This week's featured job is for an auto equipment mechanic. The person who fills this position will be responsible for performing skilled tasks in the maintenance and repair of automotive and specialized mechanical equipment. Go to PensacolaCityJobs.com to find out what positions we're hiring for, and you can also sign up for notifications to hear about jobs as soon as they're posted. Some food for thought for your Friday. In this episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, host John Scanlon from Pensacola Energy shows us how to use natural gas to make crab and crawfish cakes.
On this episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, we're making crab and crawfish cakes. Stick around and find out how it's done.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites. I'm your host, John Scanlon, and we have a very special guest today. We have our marketing coordinator, Maria Stolfi, and she's picked a recipe out of the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, The Taste of Pensacola. What are you cooking for us today, Maria?
I'm making crab and crawfish cakes. So let's get started, right? So, of course, start off with turning your burner on. Go with a medium-high heat because you want to start with your butter first. Go ahead and let that melt completely. So then you're going to put in your peppers, red, yellow, and your celery. Now those are going to get tender completely. And you'll know whenever your peppers start to smell. That is the best way you'll know.
So basically you're just cooking them down.
Yes, of course. So add in your peppers and your celery. Just mix that in.
And that's about 2 tablespoons worth of each?
Yeah, 2 tablespoons of each. And right now it kind of seems like a lot for crab cakes. But when you mix everything together, you'll see that it's not a lot. And at the end, it does add a little bit of crunch to your crab cakes. And it doesn't take a lot to have them cook down. If you're kind of in a hurry, just turn up the heat a little bit. If you like a little bit of extra crunch to your cakes, don't let the vegetables cook as long. So once these cook down just a little bit, then you'll add your Old Bay seasoning and your blackening seasoning. Now you can add any type of blackening seasoning. Some people like Tony Satcher's. My favorite is Slap Your Mama. I just like saying it, but it is my specialty. So you'll add your blackening seasoning and your Old Bay. The Old Bay is gonna bring out the extra flavor in the seafood when you add that later. And when you mix it in, it is gonna feel like you're stirring around sand with your with your vegetables. That is completely normal. When I first made this recipe, I thought it was a little weird. But just stir it around, it's completely normal. And make sure it evenly coats all the veggies that are in there. Once it's evenly coated, go ahead and add your shrimp stock. Shrimp stock is kind of hard to find. You can also substitute it for fish stock or lobster stock. And this is about 1/4 of a cup. So that will deglaze a little bit. It will kind of kick back at you. So let that cook for about a minute. And this is a very different way of cooking crab cakes. Usually when you cook crab cakes, you just kind of mix everything into a mixing bowl at first. So this is a very different way of cooking it with a little bit of a wetter way to mix it. But once we get into the mixing part, you will see the crab cakes kind of form together. So once this is done kind of cooking, then you'll add your seafood, which is lump crab and your crawfish, also known as crawdaddies. Shout out to Jim. So throw that in there. And then you'll mix that around. Make sure that the seasoning is coated completely with your crab. The crawfish will have its own flavor of spice, but make sure that the crab meat is completely coated in your seasoning. Smells good, doesn't it?
It smells excellent. So are the peppers already tender, or is it just kind of still cooking? Or
they're definitely tender now. Mm-hmm. And like I said, if you wanted a little bit of extra crunch to your crab cake, go ahead and just throw the peppers in and just start throwing in your blackening seasoning and everything. Some people like a little crunch to their crab cakes, and sometimes you want them a little bit softer. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, this is on about medium-high heat.
Throw that over some rice and we're good, right?
Exactly. This is a very good mixture. Okay, so once this is simmered down a little bit, we're going to turn down the heat to simmer. You can turn it completely off because we're going to add it into the mixing bowl, which it doesn't really specify in the recipe. It just says to cool a little bit. So I put it in the mixing bowl, kind of figured that out the hard way at first. So we're going to add that into the mixing bowl. Put it back on the burner. The good thing about cooking with gas is that you can really control your heat. So now we have it in our mixing bowl. Add the panko. And then it says to lightly beat your egg. Of course, when you mix it together, you're lightly beating your egg. So we're just gonna fold in your panko. and your egg. So as you're mixing it, it's going to cool down a little bit so you can actually form your cakes. If your mixture is a little bit wet, you can always add more panko crumbs. The recipe calls for a cup, but if it's a little bit wet, you see that the cakes aren't going to stick, just add more panko. Now egg is like the glue for cooking. So now that it's sticking together, roll up those sleeves, and now you're ready to make your cakes. So depending on how you like your cakes made, it calls for 3. You can always, 3 is like a little bit big, but depending on your crowd, you can make them smaller. So I always like to start off, because I'm full Italian, so you can start off with a meatball and kind of flatten them out and make them into a disc, just like that. And flatten them out and make them into a disc. Just like so.
Excellent.
Then you can put them back onto your skillet.
Now, do you want that on simmer, or do you want a little higher? Or?
Well, right now, since you're trying to control your heat and make your disc, you can put them on simmer.
Okay.
My chef in culinary school always taught me, if you're not really paying attention to your pot, always start your gas off on simmer. It's where you're not paying attention to it, keep it on simmer, it's not really cooking. Then whenever you're ready to watch it again, crank up the heat. And the tighter you make your crab cakes, the more they're gonna stick together. So don't be afraid to put your muscle into it.
Look like hamburgers.
Right? Now panko crumbs compared to breadcrumbs are a little bit more crunchier. So if you ever forget to go to the grocery store and forget your panko crumbs, your breadcrumbs are gonna be tasting more like a hamburger than a panko crumb. All right. So now that I'm paying attention, I'm gonna crank up the heat a little bit more. All right, now we got the heat turned up just a little bit more. We're about to flip these puppies over. You really just want to keep them about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, depending how big your crab cake is. So you can just hold it on one side and just flip it over. And really, whenever you're about to flip it over, just make sure you're pressing it down just a little bit, because you really want that inside to be cooked all the way through. You don't want it hard on the outside corners and then mushy in the inside. Now that the heat is up, just give them about 2 to 3 minutes on one side, and then just make sure you secure, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip them over and just pat them down on one side, because you wanna make sure that they're well cooked in the middle. You don't wanna leave them super mushy in the middle. So just almost like a Krabby Patty. All right, there we go. 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Flatten them down.
So we're 2.5 minutes away from plating these things.
Exactly. And they're smelling really good too. All right, now these are ready. So go ahead and pick your favorite plate in the house. And these are ready. Now if you have like a house specialty remoulade sauce, go ahead and serve that up, or however you want to do it.
They look fantastic, Marie, and this recipe was found in the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, A Taste of Pensacola. That's a cookbook with 25 years of history from the Fiesta Seafood Grill at the Pensacola Seafood Festival. That's where local chefs have all put their time and energy in preparing foods for everybody. And they put the recipes in this book, and you can buy it for $15. All the proceeds go to the Escambia Utility Assistance Program to help the elderly pay their utility bills. Give us a call, 850-436-5050. Pick yours today, and you can be making crawfish and crab cakes very soon.
This has been Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
That's all we have for you on this episode of City Roundup. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you same place, same time, next week.
This has been City Roundup with Saida Rosa. City Roundup is the City of Pensacola's one-stop shop for everything having to do with Pensacola. Join us again each Friday at 8 a.m. for more of City Roundup.